Every time you sign a financial contract, you are engaging in a system of risk and reward that is thousands of years old. The history's greatest empires never fell to foreign invaders. They were cannibalized from the inside by a financial predator called the debt shark. This is the story of the debt sharks, and why their rules, first written on stone, have haunted humanity for thousands of years. The Babylonians understood this threat better than anyone. Imagine the year 1754 BC. King Hammurabi carves his laws onto a massive black basalt pillar, 7 feet tall, for all to see. This wasn't just about justice. It was a financial defense system. Hammurabi placed hard limits on interest rates, 20% on grain loans, 33% on silver. The code decreed, if a debtor could prove that a storm or crop failure had ruined his harvest, the debt would be cancelled. This was the very first great societal attempt to regulate the shark, an acknowledgement that debt was a force powerful enough to destabilize a kingdom. But the laws of stone are fragile. They can be plundered, relocated, or simply ignored. And as the Babylonian Empire faded, the predator simply waited for the next victim. Fast forward over a millennium to the Roman Republic, an empire built on the backs of small farmers who also served as soldiers. But the debt machine was churning. Wealthy elites accumulated massive times, latifundia times, huge estates worked by cheap slave labor. The small farmer, the backbone of the legions, couldn't compete. They fell into debt, lost their land, and poured into Rome, becoming the urban poor. This debt crisis became the poison that fractured the Republic itself. Two brothers, Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus, rose as populist leaders, demanding radical land redistribution and debt relief. They challenged the power of the Senate. The result? Both brothers were assassinated, their reforms violently crushed. Debt was more powerful than the law, and it plunged Rome into decades of civil war. The Republic did not fall because of Caesar, but because the debt sharks had already eaten its core. In response to the chaos that followed Rome, the world tried a radical solution. From the Sutra period in India to the early Jewish, Christian, and Islamic societies, a consensus emerged: interest itself was sinful. This was the era of the usury ban. For the medieval church, to charge interest on a loan was to condemn others' misfortune. It was an attempt to stop the cycle of accumulation, the geometric rise of compound interest that ruined families and shifted all wealth to the lenders. For centuries, this moral and legal firewall held. But a defense system only works until a loophole is found. The modern era didn't abolish the shark, it legalized it. In the early 20th century, the image of the loan shark was clear. The shadowy figure charging exorbitant rates for subsistence credit to the urban poor. Today, that street corner lender has been replaced by two far more destructive entities. First, the subprime mortgage crisis of 2008. Through complex financial instruments, excessive speculation and predatory lending allowed financial institutions to take advantage of low-income homeowners, leading to a global collapse. It was the Roman debt crisis, but played out with derivatives and cash-out refinancings. The second evolution is the vulture fund. These aggressive hedge funds buy up the discounted debt of entire nations' sovereign debt and then sue that nation to recover massive profits, hijacking the process of economic recovery. They prey on countries already in default. The debt shark of the ancient world is now a sophisticated, multi-billion-dollar entity, legally registered to hunt. From the bronze law of Babylon to the basalt-carved defenses of Rome, history is a repeating pattern. Societies try to contain the power of accumulation, and accumulation always finds a way to wear down the wall. The conflict is no longer between the borrower and the lender, but between the individual citizen and the entity that controls the system itself. The debt shark doesn't destroy the empire overnight. It simply ensures that when the empire falls, the debts are transferred from the powerful to the innocent. We have traded physical land for digital currency. We have traded the usurer's handshake for the complex contract. But the vulnerability is the same. If the rise and fall of every great civilization is ultimately determined by who gets to hold the debt, then we must ask, are we simply living under a refined version of Hammurabi's same failing system? And if the ultimate power is not held by governments or armies, but by the private entities that buy the world's distress, is bias for financial gain an inevitable fact of life, or is it a political choice we are still capable of reversing?